Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to read an opening statement for a few minutes. A little over 16 months ago, almost exactly 3 weeks after I was elected to the United States Congress, a suit was filed against me claiming I owed back child support. From the very beginning and throughout all of this, my only public response has been, I understand that I'm a public figure, so I'm fair game. I'm going to fight with all my strength to clear my name of these hurtful allegations. But I'm going to fight this thing privately, quietly, and legally. And that's what I've done. I'm pleased to stand before you today to tell you that the case against me has been dismissed. Even my former wife agrees I was never a deadbeat dad, and we have resolved our differences in private. We both intend to get back to raising our 3 kids in private, and I'm going to continue to focus on representing the folks of Illinois' 8th District and run hard for re-election. I'll be happy to answer your questions in a moment, but I've endured 16 months of attacks, and I hope you'll give me a few minutes just to get a couple things off my chest. First, let me explain why I made the decision right away to not fight back publicly against these charges, but instead to stay quiet and fight them privately. And let me say, it hasn't been easy. My kids have seen headlines and news reports describing their dad in the most deplorable way. My congressional staff routinely gets hate-filled calls and emails. Believe me, not a day has gone by when I haven't wanted to scream the truth and tell my side of the story on TV or in the newspaper. But I didn't and I won't, because a public fight would have been the worst thing in the world for my kids. My kids didn't have anything to do with this, and truthfully, though my ex-wife brought these charges, she's the mother of my children. And I have always said that I would never say anything negative about my children's mother in public or private. It's a lesson I was taught by my father, and it's one I've tried to teach my kids. Even though their mother and I haven't been together in 9 years, she is still their mother. She's always been a good mother, and their mother should never be criticized by me or anyone in the media. I kept my mouth quiet for my family, plain and simple. And even though it might have hurt me in the public eye, and it did, even though I took plenty of shots, and I did, it was the right thing to do, and I have no regrets. Secondly, let me say a few things that have never, ever come out since this story broke. First, my kids have been my life and remain my life, period. You ask anyone who knows me. I have been a loving, involved dad with each of my kids from the moment they were born. Though like a lot of married couples, our marriage may not have worked out, for us, our kids were our lives, and we've each done a great job over the years of raising them. You know, it's almost been humorous, though that's probably not the right word, with all the misinformation that's been out there. I've actually read a number of times that I abandoned 3 kids in diapers. Well, here are some facts. Our kids, my kids, are currently 24, 21, and 17 years old. When we divorced in 2004, they were 17, 14, and 10 years old. None still in diapers. My oldest son went off to college in 2005. My middle daughter graduated from high school in 2009. From the time we divorced, my ex-wife and I shared custody. We lived close to each other, and the kids basically lived with each of us half the time over those years until they graduated from high school. I coached all of my kids in sports each and every year that I could, and even though we struggled financially, a Catholic school education was important to both of us, and we sent each child to Catholic grade school and then on to Loyola Academy, a Catholic high school, where our youngest son is currently a junior. I'm with our youngest child every weekend when I'm not in D.C. So again, contrary to popular myth out there, my ex-wife and I have raised 3 wonderful adult and almost adult children, and we each have been very involved in their lives. A quick note, excuse me, on the media and this whole process. You all gleefully jumped on this story when it broke and did your best to make it as sensational as you could. Again, I'm a big boy. I know this is a tough business, and I haven't exactly been a shrinking violet when it comes to where I stand on issues. But I would only ask that you report with equal vigor today's news. It's the nature of your business, I know. Not speaking to anyone personally, I intend, but your profession does a great job at tearing down reputations. And I think you do a pretty lousy job at repairing those reputations when warranted. I'm simply asking you to be fair. We need good people to run for office, Republican and Democrat, and today they aren't. Because every nook and cranny of someone's personal life is thrown out there for all to see. Be fair when it comes to personal stuff. And please focus on where candidates stand on the issues. That's what voters need and want. I also ask that as best you can, you respect the privacy of my former wife and my kids and let them move on. I promised my former wife that our resolution would remain private, just between the 2 of us. I hope you'll respect that. For me, I know, look, I know I'm in the public eye. You can keep firing at me. With this personal issue now behind me, I can tell you that voters in my district are concerned with trying to find a job, keep their home, fill up a tank of gas, and do something about all this out-of-control government spending. They don't care about these personal issues, mine or my opponents. And I can tell you one final point. It was especially disappointing to get wind of my opponent, Tammy Duckworth's news release that she just sent out, almost mystifying to me. On a day like this, when a family has privately resolved their differences, has privately come together and done what's best for their kids, all my opponent can do is throw out a news release focusing on 30 years of my personal issues. How graceless, how utterly void of grace, how classless. This is a good day personally for me. Why? It's a good day for my kids. It's a good day for the mother of my kids. Gosh, I would have hoped that she would have just acknowledged that. We're going to engage in a campaign for the next 7 or 8 months, and we're going to talk about families in our district that are up against it. That's what voters want to know about this year, not these personal issues. I would be happy to take some personal questions.